a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the restricted section, the longest breakup of my life, including that one time I stayed with a dude 6 months longer than I wanted to because I needed to wait for our lease to end. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Chapter 5, An Excess of Phlegm, in which we're just like hanging out at the Burrow, bitching about Fleur Delacour and getting our OWL scores. It's actually not that big of a deal. I'm your host, Christina. Your co-host today is the legendary Mary Clay. Say hello to the listeners, Mary Clay.
Hello. I mix it up there for you.
Wow, amazing. And I'm very excited because with us today, we have very beloved to me special returning guests, Lucy and Zac from Fangfiction podcast. Say hello to the listeners.
Hello. I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah, I'm really excited you guys are here too. When we recorded previously, I truly felt like we had met some kindred spirits, especially since we recorded last time with Haley. And even, do you remember just looking in the Zoom chat? Me and Lucy like look very similar, and Haley and Zac look very similar.
I can see it.
It was like a long lost sibling reunion.
Yeah. And I just felt
funny.
I felt like we found some real friends in you guys. So I'm just so happy you're back. It is like a little family reunion. So how the hell have the two of you been since you were on the show last, which had to have been at least between like 6 and 18 months ago?
Yeah, it was ages ago. Good, busy, you know. Like I just said when we were catching up, busy and expensive, but besides that, life's good.
Wow, that's deeply relatable.
I don't know. I just sort of play with my daughter and do normal
that's
life
amazing.
stuff. Yeah.
That's great. Oh my gosh. I love your life. I hope you're still keen to talk shit about Harry Potter, because that's the reason we're here.
Oh, so keen. I don't think I've talked shit about Harry Potter since last time we recorded, so there's like a lot built up.
I genuinely think the last time I engaged with any Harry Potter content was on this podcast 6 to 18 months ago.
I'm just so sorry for continuing to be that person.
I think that's the only time I ever engage with Harry Potter content is on this podcast.
It's not a good fandom anymore, guys.
Okay. I don't know if anybody knows this.
It's not good. I have this little bubble of queer nerds who make jokes with me about how bad and fun it is, and that is the only fandom worth fandoming.
Truly.
This is like late stage fandom Fall of Rome stuff, right? Where it's like
oh my
everything's
God.
collapsing, but we can still profit from it for just a little bit longer. Like we're squeezing it all out, being like, man, this whole Rome thing was pretty bad. Hey.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny. What I was doing literally 3 minutes before I got on this Zoom chat was watching HBO's show Rome.
There it is. Yeah. See, in sync. That's what it is.
It's a great
Just
show.
crazy synchronicity.
Yeah, it's truly. So today we're here to talk about Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Chapter 5, An Excess of Phlegm. Perhaps not my favorite chapter title.
Should we mention the elephant in the room with this chapter all at once?
What?
1, 2, 3. Misogyny.
I feel like that's the only point I have to make about this chapter is just that's how much hatred JKR has for women.
It's really bad.
It's so unnecessary. And we'll get into it, but man.
Oh.
I thought you were going to, when you said, should we point out the elephant in the room? I thought you were going to put me on blast, which I'll put myself on blast, as you all know. I'm happy to do that for recording this episode out of order from the other episodes. I'm I've recorded chapters 1 and 2, which are quite fun. And then I've skipped 3 and 4. And now I'm recording this one. And now I have to go back to the Harry Potter was a very special boy chapter. That's
Yeah. But I think that
Bullshit.
one's a little more fun because Dumbledore shows up, right? And so he
does.
shakes down the Dursleys a bit, I think.
So
at least there's
anyway,
that.
listeners, I'm sure those episodes were great.
I'm sure they were perfect. You just wanted the misogyny as quickly as you could get to it. That was like, you were like, I need to hate women now.
Oh my God. Well, it's actually not that hard because if you turn in any direction in this book series, boom, misogyny right in your
Boom.
face.
Yeah.
It's like trying to navigate the maze in the Triwizard Tournament, but instead of dead ends, it's just misogyny.
Misogyny. And you know, isn't that just like real life, right? JKR was just reflecting our world. She's a genius.
Yeah, I love when people do that in fantasy series. Super cool. Super cool imagination, girl. So we start out at the Burrow. Dumbledore has just dropped Harry off at the Burrow after their little Slughorn side quest. And Molly is on security detail. They're like, every time somebody walks up now, it's like, who are you? How do I know
Declare
you?
yourself.
What? Yeah, declare yourself. State your name and
Well,
business.
really, it's not Molly who's on security detail. It's Arthur. And she's like, is this necessary? And he's like, I have to do
Okay,
it per
no.
work.
Let's get to that when we get to that because that's a beloved scene to me. Okay. So Tonks is there, but just kidding, she leaves immediately. She's not looking good because she is in love with a man and her life force is gone now as she slowly becomes part of the man.
Yeah.
Haven't we all done that?
As is love.
Yeah. Just absorbed.
Yeah,
into
like
the
her
man.
life force is gone. I'll say that I've done this, but not since high school, yo.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Tonks
do this
is a
when you're
fully
an
grown
adult.
woman with like a fulfilling career.
Career,
But just the
friend
moment she
group.
falls in love, just completely loses all their
Ruined.
color.
She,
We've
like-
all done.
Doesn't
weird
reflect
things
well on
for
Remus, does it?
Boys be like,
it's not my favorite move. She like forgets how to do her magic or
Yeah,
like
doesn't
Is
have
too
the
depressed.
energy for it.
doesn't have the
It's-
energy
yeah.
for it. It's like, babe, come on. But we don't know yet what's wrong with her. Like maybe she's sick. Maybe she caught the werewolf.
She caught the werewolf, and there was less magic. That's it.
I actually take that back because that statement doesn't bode well with the allegory for AIDS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually revoked my previous statement. that was
Christina's
just a cute
canceled.
werewolf
This is the
joke.
last episode of the
You're right.
restricted section. It was actually a blessing in disguise.
The
She
episode
planned this the whole time.
Tina's like, at last I'm free.
I've actually been desperately trying to get canceled for the last 3 seasons, and no one
right.
has enforced it yet.
Well,
Yeah,
if you
we can
want to
relate
get
to that.
canceled today, all you have to do is write a 10-minute song on the ukulele and sing it in a
yeah.
non-apology. I don't know if any of you guys understand that reference.
I heard
but-
about that from you, I think, specifically.
I don't think I do know this reference.
I used to not follow this particular person in particular, but just like growing up on the internet, you know a lot of these people. So sometimes it's fun to watch the tea from afar, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, it's like being on the. Hang on, where did the. I'm really dumb
What?
because I was about to say, where did the Boston Tea Party happen? It happened in Boston. It's like being.
I wouldn't
it's
have
like
been
When
able
was
to
the War of
what
state's,
1812?
what state's neighbor, Massachusetts. I don't know. It's like being in Connecticut watching the Boston Tea Party happen. You know, it's fun. And this is a reference that you two totally understand.
We're
as
going to
Native
need a bit of a
Americans.
more universal metaphor going on here.
Just
all
cut
right,
all
we-
that out. Just don't worry about it.
It is like a weird aspect of being an English speaker of like anywhere in the world is that you kind of just know everything like on like a superficial level about America because all your media is from America. So
We're just we're
I
just
get that
like
enough.
that, you know? We have like a reputation. Like people are talking about
They're
us.
so obsessed with us.
So upset.
Please, Tina,
So
take us
upset.
back to the chapter.
oh yes,
I-
Harry Potter.
I actually don't think that happened yet. Okay, so Molly sits down with Harry while he eats. She makes him some soup and bread. She's like, "Do you want bread?" And he's like, "Yeah." But I don't believe that she wouldn't have given him bread.
Yeah, like five and up.
Yeah.
I
No,
sort of
I'm
love
good.
that.
Cuts the bread anyway.
I love that he like doesn't bullshit at all with like any any manners. She's like, "Are you
No.
hungry?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm fucking starving."
What are
Like,
you
so,
being?
like you get to your best friend's house and just open the fridge. It's that.
Yeah.
Give me bread.
I feel like Molly's the kind of mom where if Harry was like, "Can I have some water?" She's like, "You know where the cups are."
Yeah, that's right. That's real Molly
I would like
energy.
to bring up a dumb piece of JKR's writing. Are you hungry, Harry? Yeah, I am, said Harry, suddenly realizing just how hungry he was.
Oh my god, the telling, not showing. Oh, what is it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the way I wanted to say that. It's just like every time the characters feel anything, it's Harry felt hungry. Like there's no,
Yeah.
no nuance. There's nothing left up to the reader at all.
Totally. My big pet peeve as an editor is when authors rely on like there's this one line when he goes up into his room a little bit later. It's like Hedwig hooted happily at Harry from her perch on top of a large wardrobe, then took off through the window. Harry knew she had been waiting to see him before going hunting. Those like Harry knew phrases are so
Yes.
lazy. It just sounds bad and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's an inelegance.
It also, this one in particular, the suddenly realizing, this is something that a writing device that I would use when I was writing my dumb stuff in high school and college.
Yeah.
And I would be writing and then it would be like, oh, are you tired? Like I would get to the end of whatever chapter and be like, oh wait, they're supposed to go to bed right now. And then it'd be like, then he yawned, not realizing how tired he had been. And that's because I had forgotten to
Totally.
write in the parts throughout the chapter that he was tired, you know?
I love romance novels, but like one that happens all the time in romance is like crying, like being like, oh, tears were rolling down my face. I hadn't even realized I started to cry.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
They're not even realizing. Yeah.
Or like
yeah.
the breath you didn't realize
Realize
you were holding.
in.
Yes.
Classic. Classic.
No
Yeah.
one do a command find in any of the stuff that I've written for.
That's literally me right now going through my writing, being like, okay, fuck. Don't let Tina read this. Okay.
Okay, the people make jokes like that, like they don't want me to read their shit, but you have to think about it the way that you think about the gynecologist. It's like, do I want somebody looking at my pussy? No. Is this the worst pussy she's ever seen? No.
Be. Yes,
No,
might be.
it is not.
Like, it's
As
likely.
I've told Tina this exact thing as we were talking about the actual gynecologist.
It's
Saying,
not
but
the
what
worst
if it
pussy.
is, Tina? What if it
What if
Right.
it is?
You-
What if they tell me that it is?
Yes.
Mary Clay, you are in
open
your
up the holy
20s and you haven't had kids. Like your pussy is fine.
How do you know? How do you know I haven't
Wow.
had kids?
Lucy
I
is
guess
right
I
Sold them
there.
on the I sold them on the black market.
If anything, my pussy is better looking than it was. It's definitely not fucking true. I tell you what.
Remember, this is just Christina trying to get herself canceled.
I
on
love
the
right.
podcast.
I'm so happy to go down with this shit. This is great.
Not even 30 minutes in.
Pussy.
Even terrible pussy.
I love all pussy.
So then Harry takes a bite of the
Ah, yes, Harry Potter.
I forgot to tell you guys that this is the book where I like Harry Potter again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is a goodie.
Yeah.
I mean, after having to go through Order of the Phoenix, this
Yeah.
is such
Rough.
a relief. Yeah.
It's a relief is exactly how I describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything is exactly right. Everything is better after Order of the Phoenix. So far so good, except for the misogyny. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so Harry is eating some late dinner. Shanks is there, which means that Hermione is obviously here sleeping somewhere. Let's talk. I just want to keep circling back to this. What do her parents think?
Oh my God.
Yeah. They just
Only
love-
get her for 3 months of the year and then she leaves.
Yeah.
Like within a couple of weeks at best. She just never sees them. She doesn't go home for Christmas. She doesn't tell
Like
them
Harry is her
anything.
family now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shocking.
It's awful.
They just love teeth so much.
Yeah, they just
Yeah, maybe they're like, oh, actually, no, this is great because there's this dentistry conference that we always wanted to go to when you were growing up, but never could because it was during the summer holiday.
Oh my God.
Now you're going to spend the whole time at Molly Weasley's house, who already has a bajillion kids. Let's give her one more.
yeah.
This
She
works
won't
out
notice.
great.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I was a kid, I was not allowed to have sleepovers. That was like something that my parents did not believe was safe for children, which at what cost is my retort to that. But the only, well,
Christina now retaliates by having
would've
massive sleepovers every weekend.
I would have been gayer sooner if they had just let me go. But the one friend where I was allowed to sleep over at her house was my friend Annie, whose Catholic parents had like 10 kids. And I'm like, you like them because they're Catholic, but they don't know where I am. Like, there's 10 of them.
If there's anywhere that you could like go out to the park and set stuff on fire, it's with the family with 10 kids.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh dear.
So they're sitting down, whatever. Okay, so they're just talking a little bit. They're talking about Horace Slughorn. Apparently, Slug taught her and Arthur when they were in school. Apparently, he was a teacher for a really long time, and he started when Dumbledore started.
Yeah, that really jumped out at me this time. I was like, Jesus, I didn't know he was that old. I thought Dumbledore was like freakishly long living.
Yeah, like, is Slughorn very old also, or did Dumbledore start teaching late in his life?
I guess
maybe.
Yeah, the second.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't have any evidence to either.
And we're not going to look it up. And
No.
continuing on.
So she tells Harry that Arthur has been promoted. He's now the head of the office for the detection and confiscation of counterfeit defensive spells and protective objects. Apparently, there's a lot of bullshit circulating now that people are afraid.
Oh.
Like protective shit.
Oh wow. Can't relate.
This is a very sweet and classic, like, awkward Harry moment where when Mrs. Weasley shares the news that he's been promoted, he has like a mouthful of scalding hot soup, but he obviously, he knows that this is something she is very excited about. So he just swallows it all and like burns his throat and is like, congratulations.
That's the Harry we know and love.
Yeah, I do love that
He's
about
so
Harry.
awkward. She mistakes it for him tearing up about the news.
I don't even think I caught that part. Oh, that's funny.
Whereas really Harry's like, I couldn't give a shit, and if I could, I would spit the soup all over you, but I won't.
I actually think that that's not like very untrue. Like, I think he does not care about what Arthur does at work.
No. And understandably, his job sounds so boring. He's like the most kind of like middle level public servant. Like, it's very sweet that Molly's so proud of him.
Definitely overworked and underpaid.
Definitely.
We get another good look at the Weasley clock. You know the clock.
Oh
And
my
everyone's
God.
hands are... It's a
forgot
crazy
about
clock,
the
and
clock.
everyone's hands are pointing to mortal peril.
Yeah, and she's like carrying it around the house with her, just like constantly being reminded that her family's in mortal peril. It's so sad.
Yeah.
Like, throw that clock away. It's just making it worse.
I think that's what, at least in America, everyone's like household
Yeah.
clock looks like now. I also
God,
think
yeah.
that's like the physical embodiment of anxiety.
Yes.
Is looking over and seeing that everyone you love is pointed at mortal peril.
Yeah, for sure.
I do like that the hand moves to like while he's traveling. It's like for the like split second that he's not in existence while he's apparating, he's not in mortal peril.
Yeah, I was wondering because, like, so I guess he's traveling more than he is in mortal peril for a moment.
Yeah,
But when he's at work, he's in more mortal peril than he is working.
yeah.
It's very hard to keep up with. Where do you guys think this clock came from?
Question.
This
'Cause
is
she does say
the
that
magic world.
she doesn't know anyone else that has one, right?
Yeah, because she was trying to see if other people's clocks are stuck like this.
Maybe it's something that Arthur like fiddled with
Ooh,
somehow. Like he was looking at the mechanics of like a Muggle clock, and then put his own cute little Arthur Weasley spin on it.
What if? Okay, so you know how magicians are like really like averse to technology. What if like the technology of a watch or a clock is like too high tech for them, and so like they don't know how it works? And just like he was poking around in the Ford Anglia, he's like, I'm gonna start fucking poking around with this clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he's
Yeah.
really disappointed that it's turned out to be magic. He's like, he just wants it to be a normal clock. It's like, this fucking sucks.
Oh, whoopsie magic. He did a little bit of whoopsie
God
magic.
damn it.
Arthur gets home from work, and this is my favorite exchange in the entire book series.
Yeah.
Okay. Arthur gets home from work. He's outside. Molly's like, is that you? He's like, we have to do the security thing. He's like, Molly, what, Molly says, what is, fuck. I wrote it in a way where he makes Molly
what is your
ask,
dearest ambition?
what is your dearest ambition? Okay. And then his is to find out how airplanes stay up. Yo, me too, Arthur,
So
honestly.
But also,
Cute.
Arthur, like,
Oh
just
my
go to a
God.
library. Like, like, how hard is that to find out?
It's too hard.
Hey.
Lucy.
Dearest
It's-
ambition.
It is beyond me personally to understand how airplanes
Yeah,
stay up, but I've been in kind of a lot of them.
Yeah, Lucy, how do airplanes work, Lucy?
Yeah, tell us everything.
That was actually when we flew when I was a little kid. I was like kind of a nervous flyer because I get very motion sick. And so I'd get really, really sick in any turbulence. And the way my dad used to keep me calm was to explain like the intricacies of how it was in the air and how it was landing and what the wings were doing. I don't remember any of it
that's
because I was in a bit of an
lovely.
anxiety spiral, but it helped.
That's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very sweet
So
man.
so we all just I guess need to do a quick Google about how airplanes stay up.
Us and Arthur Weasley both.
How do air?
No. No. Arthur is like, I have to ask you your question, Molly. What do you Oh my god.
And she's like glancing over her shoulder back at Harry like, oh God, I can't stop this train.
I'm gonna send you guys the
What?
article that came up. I kid you not. The second result.
What? Oh, okay. Well, pause for the cause. Scientific American classic. No one can explain why planes stay in the air by Scientific American.
It was actually written by Arthur Weasley.
That's right.
Oh my God. By one Arthur Weasley. That's fucking.
Muggle
There are
magic.
two
Muggle
competing
magic.
theories about how airplanes work. What
Why?
the fuck?
Who's
That
fighting
makes
about
flying
this?
a lot scarier.
I'm never
Yeah.
gonna get
It's
a plane
just
again.
Witchcraft.
I have to get in a plane like next week. It'll be fine.
It'll be-
Wow. That's shocking. Okay. The question is, what does Arthur like to call Molly when they're alone together?
Ooh.
No, it's the opposite. It's what does Molly want? Not what Arthur wants to call her. It's what Molly wants him to call her.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's an
and
important distinction because it's
Yeah.
a specific request from her.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So Harry's like getting a bit of an odd vibe from this exchange.
And he starts
Molly's
just like
blu-
shoveling soup into his mouth, like making as much noise as he can.
Great Harry moment.
Molly's blushing so hard. I would literally never say this out loud in front of my son's best friend. I just wouldn't do it. I would be like, Arthur, Harry's sitting right here. Like, I'm not doing that, but
I'll be like, if you're that concerned, you're just gonna have to wait outside all night.
you're going to get wobbly if you stand out there.
Yeah. Also, why would you pick a question that you would be
I
embarrassed to
know.
answer in the presence of other people? Like
Like-
I understand that's a deeply personal question that only he would know.
But a couple has so much unique shared
Yeah.
context. Like, there has to be something else. Sean and I could come up with a million inside jokes.
Yeah.
I could literally just be like, Sean, which cat do you like best? And like, depending on how he phrases his answer, like I'll
Yeah.
know.
Like
It's
they-
Penny, right?
No, it's not Penny.
No,
Oh,
it's not Penny.
No,
Oh no. I'm
Oh,
Oh
sorry.
God.
He-
It's not
he
you.
kind of
Oh, no, he likes Pepper, right?
Pepper. Penny's
Yeah.
his
Oh,
least
thank God.
favorite, I think.
There we go.
Sean, rank your cats in order of favorite to least favorite.
No, I'll tell you the order. Pepper, Dante, Cora, Penny. That's
Oh,
Sean's
Penny.
preference.
Yeah.
Wow.
Penny
is my
favorite.
ranking, but my ranking goes Penny, Dante, Pepper, Cora.
Oh wow.
So
Aw.
Per Cora.
Well, that's good. They get an even distribution of love there.
Cora's in the bottom twice.
Cora doesn't want anyone to hang out
She
with
doesn't
her.
want
So
affection.
she comes in last because she's like, ew, fuck off. And it's like,
She
I
chose
will.
it. Yeah.
Fine. But this is just like password security questions, right? With like these
Yeah.
are just like Arthur and Molly
Yeah.
are just like Google's like, hey, what's your deepest and darkest kink? And Molly's like, yes, I choose that one.
Yeah, what if they're just like, what is your mother's maiden name? What is the
Truly.
name of your second
Yeah.
your
What Death
second
Eater's gonna know that?
childhood pet?
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
the name of the street that you grew up on?
How do airplanes fly?
Like, what did we call any of our 7 children when they were young? Like,
Truly.
which twin do you like better? Like, there's
Oh my god, yeah. Which is your least favorite twin? George, but I don't know why.
True.
Right? I don't know why either.
Yeah.
Anyway.
George is just ever so slightly like more down to earth.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I think Fred gets most of the jokes in first.
Yeah,
I think he's just a little
There's
bit
a bit of
quicker
a-
off the mark.
George
he's
is
a little
the
bit
setup.
quicker, a little bit more hot-headed. Well, I don't remember.
For the record, I
won't
don't actually like one twin over the other.
Oh, sure.
That was just me
I love
Okay.
all of my children equally.
doing a bit.
Right.
Oh, sure.
I don't care for George.
Right up until we see your security questions.
Don't you recite, what's the Narnia quote? Don't you dare recite the magic book to me. I was there.
I was there when it was written.
I think it's don't speak the old magic to me.
Is that it? Okay.
Maybe
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, if anyone quotes a Lucille Bluth, I'm there.
Quite familiar with our bylaws. Lucius, having written several of them myself.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So we learn a little bit about.
I was
Arthur's
there
shena-
3,000 years ago, the day men failed. Okay, we've done them all now. Moving on.
We learn a bit about what's happening at the ministry these days. We learn that Fred and George now live in an apartment in their shop over in Diagon Alley, and they're thriving. Frankly, thriving.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely.
We love that.
Yeah, we love it for them. So
Except
Harry
George.
gets to sleep in their room, which is littered with scary, half-developed prank products.
The fact that he goes to fall asleep and pulls out a puking pastel and is
Yeah.
like, oh, haha, that's so funny. Whereas I would have been like, what if I accidentally like swallowed that in the middle of the night and I just wake up puking?
Do you just be swallowing shit while you're
I
sleeping?
don't know,
Yeah.
maybe.
You
I
know-
don't think my body would do
It's usually the opposite. My mouth is open and stuff is falling out.
Feels like you'd wake up in the middle of the night, roll over to get a glass of water, and just drink straight up poison, and that's it.
Yeah, that kind of
This
thing.
is the room we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all done the middle of the night grabbing the glass of water and chugging like you've never had water before in your life.
That's right.
Yeah.
Almost every night.
Yeah. Swallowing any pills that are on the sides, like eating stuff off the floor,
I
you
do.
know,
I
scratching the walls, you know. That's-
Okay, so Harry gets a rude awakening the next morning. Ron and Hermione are waking him up hard.
Woof.
Yeah.
They're
Whoa.
like, wake up, Potter, we're going to the zoo.
Actually, I feel like that is exclusively the way Harry Potter wakes up in the morning. He's always like wrenched from sleep. Like I don't,
It's
He
true.
never-
Yeah, he
Sort of just
doesn't really have a
quietly.
lot of peaceful mornings,
No.
does
no,
he?
he just never gets a minute's peace.
And like, I'm the kind of person who wakes up really hard all at once, like a fucking like golden retriever. But
It's
Harry,
like the opposite of the John Green quote.
I don't know the John Green quote.
I fell in love the way you fall asleep slowly and then all at once.
I fell in
Aw.
love like I wake up in the morning really hard and in a way that alarms everyone.
And and very scared.
Do you wake up like Dracula or something? You just like
Yes. Yes. Literally. I'm like, and awake. Hermione is carefully inspecting Harry. They're like appraising him. How are you doing? Are you still grieving? No, I've moved on with my life.
Are you going to freak out at me? Are you going to call me a piece of shit?
yeah. The last time they were with him, the whole past school year, he was kind of an asshole. So they're like, did you have a nice break?
No, I didn't have a nice break because I live with my abusers.
Oh, Harry, you're very hard to be around.
We've put up with a lot from you, Harry.
Like Ron is ready with like a sack to like put over his head and be like, shush, 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 shush. Back to sleepy. It's gonna be okay.
Oh my God, like in Hunger Games when they just stay tranquilizing her for like a whole book. It's like, oh no.
When did that happen? What book was that?
And down you go.
Harry Potter and the Long Big Sleep.
At the end of the second book and the beginning of the third book, she has a lot of like panic attacks.
Yes,
I guess,
that's right. And they're just
that
like-
end
they're
with her
just
being
like-
tranquilized.
And you're out. Good night.
Yeah, it's like PTSD, like medical trauma, like it's bad. I have a quick question for the Australians in the room.
Oh.
Our American version of the book, or at least mine, has a phrasing that is not natural to me here in the
Interesting.
States.
What is it?
Amazing.
Hermione was scrutinizing Harry as though he was sickening for something.
Yeah, that is sickening for something. That feels very, very British to me. Do you
That's
agree?
very British.
Very British.
Y'all don't have that.
No,
it's
we don't
it's
say that.
He's like, I was about to use a different word that probably still is saying the same thing, but it's like he's like fiending for something. He's like, I want
Fiending,
that.
yeah, totally. Like wanting
Yeah.
it desperately.
He's like very obsessively like going to want something, like grab something, like you know.
Yeah, that
We would say
sounds
he's
right.
jonesing for.
That's it.
Yeah, like that.
Jones,
For-
that's perfect. Yeah.
Tugging for it.
Yeah.
He's just fucking for it.
It literally just means that he might be she's looking at him like she's trying to figure out if he's getting sick.
Yeah.
Sickening for something.
We don't say that.
Okay, good.
No,
that's a
that's-
huge relief to
I
me.
don't think
Watch
that's
a bunch of British
phrase.
people write in and be like, we don't say that either.
I know,
I don't
true.
know where the fuck she came up with that.
JKR's putting stuff in, being like, you know, I'm rewriting language. Like, I'm doing things differently now. Harry was hungry, so he said, I am hungry, and his stomach rumbled because he didn't realize he was hungry.
A proper Shakespeare.
That's right.
Enter Ginny. Ginny and Hermione immediately start talking shit about Fleur, which that's a bad energy. And I'll admit that a lot of 15 and 16-year-old girls don't yet know that that's a bad energy, but that is a bad energy, and that's not how we treat women,
No.
fellow
And
women.
I can't help but hold Ginny to a slightly higher standard than that, you know? And Hermione too. Like, they should know better. And yeah, it's very like Ginny sort of prances in like very, I'm not like the other girls. And it's obviously meant to make Ginny seem more attractive and admirable, but it definitely does the opposite.
Yeah.
Reading it now.
Jenny absolutely has I'm not like other girls.
Very
energy,
strongly,
being like,
yeah.
I'm one of the guys. Like, have you guys seen there's this one girl on TikTok who does these like in a way that I'm like, are you actually this person? This is so cringy and accurate, but she does these things of like the way that girl who thinks that the guy is into her flirts with him, and it's like being quirky and silly, and then it's like
She's
the
amazing.
girl best friend of the guy you're dating, and it's like, oh, what? No, I can't believe you're dating Patrick. And it's like so scarily accurate, and you're
It's
like,
so
are
scary.
you that person though? Like,
As a reminder, we uplift our sisters.
That's right.
Yes.
Enter Fleur. Okay, so let's continue to break that down. So enter Fleur with breakfast.
Ali.
Molly is right behind her, being mad that she took the breakfast tray. Like, Molly,
Ugh.
get over yourself.
Molly like
yeah,
just hates her.
Molly has so much to do. Like, why are you worried about the breakfast tray?
Like someone in this house is offering to help you. Like, for
Yeah.
the first time in the whole series.
Molly kind of, in this moment, strikes me as the mother that's like frantically making, oh shit, you guys don't have Thanksgiving.
That's okay.
Frantically
I think they
Thanksgiving.
understand the
Yeah.
concept.
I know, but I want to make more universal references.
Christmas, that's universal.
Christmas,
Clearly.
What about
Shit, not everyone's Christian.
Kangaroo Week?
Arbor Day.
What about Friendsgiving?
Friends? Yeah, sure, that's right.
I can see Molly being the type of mom who is frantically making a holiday meal in the kitchen. And it's like, why won't anyone help me? Paula. And then as soon as someone walks in, it's like, hey, what can I do? It's like, no, you're just going to do it wrong. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but there is a Bob's Burgers episode about this, and it is one of the Thanksgiving specials.
Yeah, beautiful. Stay
Most
in
of what I know
Bob's
about Thanksgiving comes from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. Bob's Burgers is like the best possible lens on Thanksgiving, I think.
I can confirm that one year my landlord asked me to come and pose as his wife at his Thanksgiving dinner in exchange for free rent. And then the following year, there was a stampede of turkeys that overran the
She's
town.
doing Bob's Burgers. It's all Bob's Burgers.
No,
She's
that's
doing
like, it
Bob's
took
Burgers.
me like a good
I like
10
fully
seconds.
bought it for a minute. I don't know what that says about the landlords that we've had, but we both were like, holy shit.
Wow, this cost of
Question
living
for
stuff
the group.
has gone hard. Yeah.
If your landlord came to you and was like, will you pretend to be my wife at Thanksgiving and I will give you a free month of
Yes.
rent?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all,
Yes.
we'd all
Yeah.
do that? Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
Just-
I wouldn't,
I'd
I
kiss
wouldn't
him too.
hesitate.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Also,
Just text my husband. Like, don't expect me at
Zach,
dinner.
in particular, that would be a really weird
Yeah,
experience
no.
for you probably if they said, will you come be my wife at dinner?
It'd be
Yeah.
perfect.
That's
It's the role
If
of a
any
lifetime.
of us, I would say Zach would be the most convincing.
Yeah, like Zach's got this down.
I would be in the kitchen being like, get out. You never helped me. I don't love you anymore. When we have sex, I think about your best friend, Mike. That's right.
And you look stellar in a pair of hot pink pumps. So
Yeah.
okay, so Fleur. Okay, okay. Okay. So my in-laws love me.
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing.
That's something that
so
I
you
know.
think.
Cool brag.
I am really sure that my in-laws love me.
Same.
I don't have any question in my mind about that. Hanging out at their house is still not my favorite activity in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine being at your future in-laws' house with them being hostile towards you and your fiance isn't even there.
Yeah. You've never
Yeah,
met them before.
where the fuck are you?
You don't speak the same language. You're far from home. And your fiance just drops you off. And then they're hostile. And she's trying so hard.
Fleur probably was like, I'm going to go in there, and Ginny's never had a sister. I'm going to go in there and be Ginny's sister because I know what it's like to have a younger sister.
Yeah.
And Ginny's like, fuck you, you dumb bitch.
Truly. These two fucking
Yeah.
teenagers are ripping into you the whole time. The mum's like, stop doing that. Like, please, I'm sorry.
And even like
Like,
the
what the
only
fuck?
people who stick up for her are Ron and Harry. And it's immediately implied that they're only sticking up for her because like they have the hots for her.
She's hot. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
She's
I
trying
will-
so hard.
I will give to play devil's advocate.
Mhm.
There are a few moments where Fleur says some like conceited, arrogant things about like, well, at Beauxbatons, we do this, and I think that's better. And oh, I think it would be a lot better if you did this. And oh, there's not much to do here. There's only chickens. So I can see how if she makes passive aggressive comments like that throughout the day, that it would be annoying. I don't think to the degree that she deserves this amount of hate. So
Yeah.
she's not being perfect, but it's still like nowhere near, worthy of that reception from the others.
Right. And to be the counter avocado to your devil's avocado, I would like to say that, like, I don't think those statements are inherently passive aggressive. Like, I again go back to the fact that Fleur is probably like extraordinarily nervous about this situation and might be trying to like help too much, like oversharing, like getting like not picking up hints. Like, this reads to me almost like someone who's trying too hard to impress.
Totally.
Which you should look on with compassion and not scorn.
Yeah, I do agree that they're probably not, she's not meaning them to be passive aggressive. She's probably just saying things without realizing like the cultural implication or understanding that they might take it negatively.
I think that the cultural difference is real here as well,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I think that perhaps she's used to talking this way with her family and friends. You
And
know?
also, this is also probably a lot of JKR's like biases or stereotypes about the French coming
Yeah.
in.
Oh,
yeah.
Right? Like her coming in.
The way she writes her accent.
Like, what do I name the one French person? I know, Flower de la Flower. Like,
Bitch
right.
face.
And she's gonna be real annoying, but super hot.
Harry,
Yeah.
it has been too long. Like, it's just like, it's awful.
It's hard. Okay, J.K. Rowling has never written an accent into the dialogue of a
No.
character she respects.
Never.
Like, she
Yeah,
only
it's
does that
always
to
to
characters she
ridicule.
does not respect.
Yeah.
It's to ridicule. So Hermione and Ginny aside, because while I do expect better from them, they're young. Molly needs to be absolutely doing better. Molly needs to be protecting Fleur at all costs. Like,
Yeah,
this is
truly.
completely unacceptable. My mom would rather die than treat someone this way.
Yeah. And like, it's your oldest son is marrying this woman. Like this is quite a this is a relationship you need to get right. Like,
Yeah.
the stakes are really high.
Yeah.
all the kids point out like the hypocrisy of her where she's like, they're too young and they're just doing it because they think they're going to die because of Voldemort. And they've only known each other for a year. And they're like, that's literally the exact situation that you and dad got married.
Yeah.
And she's like,
like,
oh,
she's
well,
like,
yeah,
to
but
be.
we were
liked
special.
Each other. Yeah.
We were-
They're not
We're
like other
almost definitely
couples.
related.
But we weren't French. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're from the same town.
So this is when Ginny calls her phlegm, hence the title, which I think is fucking rude.
So rude. And not even clever.
It's not even a good, what is it just like Fleur and Phlegm? Like not even a good dig, Jenny.
Nah.
Come on.
Yeah, do better.
I think it probably started out with like mocking her accent.
Oh,
then
yes,
I think,
of course.
And then turned into this. They're like, Fleur, phlegm.
That was like
It's like, okay.
that was JKR in her room writing that down.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Tina being like,
She's like, ooh, that was good. Write that down.
shit. I'm fucking 5 books into this. I'm a genius. And they will eat the slop. They will have it. I am a god.
She's mad with power. Molly leaves. The kids keep talking. Ron is still getting like a little hypnotized by Fleur. I feel bad for him.
He's like hanging on by a thread in this household.
Like he like is shaking his ear like a dog he's shaking his head like a dog trying to get water out of his ear. It's just a little pathetic.
And Harry's like,
He's
don't you get used
not
to
in
it?
control. He's like, only she surprised me.
Yeah, he's like, sometimes she just pops up out of nowhere. This is also, when we see Harry trying to defend her, because they're like, she's so dumb. And he's like, well, I mean, she was in the Triwizard tournament. So how? And
Great
they're like,
point.
you're just in love with her, but. And it's like, I mean,
It's a
no.
valid point.
She's at least smarter than Cedric because she's alive.
Yeah, boom.
If we're talking about the Triwizard
Yeah.
champions who survived, she's at least got a leg up on one of them.
I would love to share with the group that I went to go see Twilight at my local shitty movie
Oh,
theater
yeah. Yes.
These are the
yesterday.
kind of
Shitty.
stories
It's-
we come for.
It's a beautiful historical landmark, but the tickets are cheap and people go there to scream at the screen.
Yeah. Like, yes.
Out
this is
my
so
local
good.
cinema is exactly the same.
Yeah. It's not a shitty theater, and thank you for stopping me, but it is cheap and old.
I will say it's kind of the management has gotten a little shittier over the
Management's
years.
gotten shittier. It is a very classy historical landmark that has a Wurlitzer organ, and it has, and I think
Oh,
it had
cool.
the first what brand is that? The Dolby surround sound. I think like the first one is installed in the United States. So it's
And
a very cool theater.
they did in recent years replace all of the ancient theater seats that were
to
probably
now they're just shitty regular contemporary seats now.
Yeah.
My best friend got married there.
Did everyone scream, Bella, where the hell have you been?
First of all, that's in the sequel. Second of all, everyone screamed every single line.
Yes.
Every single line in the movie.
that-
Everyone was shrieking it.
Is that not what you wanted?
That sounds
That's exactly what I
amazing.
wanted.
Okay, good.
There was
Twilight the pantomime.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And every expression any of the characters made, everyone was screaming. And that whatever. It's just so funny. Anyway, Rob Pattinson is a diamond.
Absolutely.
He sparkles like one.
Yeah.
This is the face of a killer. Maybe it's Maybelline.
So apparently, the kids are talking a little bit because Molly went downstairs. Apparently Molly has been trying to bring Tonks around the house, hoping that Bill will fall in love with her instead. Like, Molly, that is not gonna work, babe.
Like, not helpful for Tonks, not helpful for Bill, very unkind to Fleur.
I think it just makes
yeah.
sense.
What are you doing?
This is how romance
No.
happens. Is your mum says, fall in love with this woman. And you say, yes,
Oh
mother.
my god.
And then it happens.
I shall.
Matchmaker, make me a match.
Thank you, mummy.
Make her a metamorph magus.
Beautiful.
That was good.
Perfect. It fits seamlessly.
It didn't rhyme at all.
I can't believe you practiced that.
Yeah, we all just sat here for like 10 minutes
believe
while
she
you
did it?
while you did that.
So they're talking about Tonks a little bit because she looks like shit, and everyone needs to talk about it when a woman looks like shit.
Yeah.
Fleur looks too
It's
good.
literally the equivalent of like when like you show up to work one day or you show up to school one day and like you're not wearing makeup and everyone's like, whoa, what happened to you? You
Wow.
okay? You look tired?
Yeah.
And
Were you in
Tonks was
a...
like, maybe I just don't have time right now
No.
to make my hair fluorescent pink and make my face look like a duck, you know?
Yeah.
True.
Never put on makeup if you work
No.
with men.
Yeah,
Set the
that-
bar low.
Set the bar
Exactly.
low. Yeah, that happened to me. And that was the day I never wore makeup again.
I think that's happened to all of us. It definitely happened to me. So why does she look like shit? Okay, well maybe apparently she Tonks thinks it's her fault that Sirius died because she was fighting Bellatrix at the time, and Bellatrix got away and went and murdered Sirius.
I will say this is very empathetic of Hermione to be
yeah.
like, I mean, maybe she has, because they're like, what? Why would she feel bad? And she's like, survivor's guilt.
Survivor's
is a thing,
guilt,
you know, like
yeah.
she's trying to think through, and she's like, maybe she's grieving, and Ron's like, she didn't even know Sirius, and Harry's sitting there shoveling eggs into his mouth because he doesn't want to
Please,
talk
please,
about
please
it.
don't talk about Sirius.
I feel like he eats a lot of breakfast in this chapter. Like
Yeah.
I don't eat that much
I
for
do like-
breakfast. I feel like
Actually-
it's like a brunch.
Yeah,
This is the second time JKR has been like, instead of saying something, Harry, you're just going to eat food. I
Yeah.
have nothing for you. Don't
And
explore
that
this.
deeply.
Ron's the one who gets crucified for never stopping eating.
Yeah.
But
oh my god,
this
Yeah.
is Harry's move.
it's because Harry is abused and malnourished.
That's right.
Yeah.
At least we can get him some food.
Mm-hmm.
So Molly calls Ginny downstairs. So now the trio is alone. We're just catching up still. We're talking about Fred and George and their new shop. We talk about how Percy is still not speaking to his family because it's easier to apologize for. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Whoa,
it's
what?
Would you like me to say it? Because
Yeah, say it.
it's easier to forgive someone for being right than it is being wrong.
No, the
I mean,
other way.
I also
it's
probably
easier to
butchered
forgive
that.
for being
Like,
wrong than being right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
So
Yeah.
it's harder for Percy to come back to his family now knowing that he was wrong the whole
Yeah.
time than it would have been if they had ended up being wrong.
Which, say what we will about JKR, but like she's dropping truth bombs like that in the middle of a quote unquote, children's YA book. And that's just such a, like, it's such a simple thing, but it's like, damn, you're right. And that provides a lot more insight into why people act the way that they do.
I want to introduce you to a
Definitely.
concept called the passive tense. Editing Tina here. I meant to say passive voice. Don't at me. I don't know words no good. We don't have to say JK out here dropping truth bombs. We can just say truth
She
bombs
did.
are being dropped.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
By whom? It doesn't matter. There's
Credit
a
where
truth
credit's
bomb. Are you
due.
gonna do anything?
No
with
credit
that?
to the author.
It just appeared on the page. It was a magical typewriter.
You know who wrote it? Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yes.
My favorite author. Harry mentions to his friends that dumb
Dumby.
That dumb bitch.
that dumb bitch
He is a
will
dumb
be
bitch.
giving
He
him.
dies this book.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, but it's his. The whole plan is his. It's fine. Dumbledore's gonna be giving Harry private lessons this year, and so they're like, "Why?" And he's like, "I guess it has something to do with the prophecy." And they're like, "Oh, nobody knows about the prophecy." And he's like, "I know about the prophecy."
He's like, guess what? I'm
It's
gonna
about-
die.
Guess what? I'm gonna die. Literally. And
I
it's a-
like that the whole time it's kind of like hinted at that Ron and Hermione have been desperately wanting to ask him these questions
Yeah.
the whole time, but they're like, so how are the Dursleys? When what they really want to ask is, so are you the chosen one? Is the prophecy true? Are you going to have to die at the hands of Voldemort? Like, what's going on with Dumbledore? Like, you can tell these are all the things that they've been wanting to ask him desperately, but they're like,
Yeah.
we're not going to annoy him yet.
Yeah.
So it's coming out now in the conversation.
Yeah, and they do start having what I consider to be a bit of a serious conversation. The whole time Hermione's like holding this telescope she just picked up from a random box, and then it just randomly punches her in the face.
I love that visual of just like a boxing glove on a spring.
Yeah.
Going, boing!
Yeah.
She gets a black eye.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Did it mean literal black eye, or was it like something, a magical, because I didn't get the impression that she was hurt by it. It was more that like it made her eye appear as if she has a black eye, and then they can't get it to come out.
Yeah.
So it had to have been some kind of magical, property, magical effect that they had, that they put on this toy.
It probably like surprises you the way that like a shock gum surprises
Oh.
you. You know what I mean?
This is the magical version of that prank where you you smear ink on like the lens of a kaleidoscope or something, and you give it to someone and they put it up to their eye, and then when they take it off they have a black circle around their eye.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's exactly it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
Classic.
But this is much funnier.
I've
Yeah.
never done that.
But this one has
No,
violence.
I've also never done it,
Nor
but
have I.
we've all seen a cartoon do it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, sure. So then Harry mentions that Dumbface mentioned that their owl results were due today. So Hermione literally,
She's like,
I think she,
"Oh my God!
I want to point out that she is, and this is from the text, flapping hysterically.
Oh my god!
oh my god.
Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you say anything?
Flapping hysterically.
Hysterically.
I don't love the word flapping, because to me that sounds like we're like judging somebody's like physical like
Oh,
choices.
yeah, maybe.
You know, like to me it's giving stimming a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
And obviously the word hysterical is
Oh.
not our favorite.
I think this is a very, I don't know, accurate visual description to describe like how much I don't think we've gotten, because this was the first chapter that Ron and Hermione showed up in, so I don't think we got and then his best friend Ron with stretched out face and red hair, and he was the seventh of
Stretched
8
out
children,
face.
and then
What's
his
wrong with his face?
and then his friend Hermione, it always talks about how gangly he is.
he doesn't have a stretched out face.
That's not the point. We always get the little description of like, and then Hermione, the smartest bitch of her age, and
Sure.
she loved academics. Like, I don't think we got that description from them. So this is a rare example where it is show, don't tell, where
True.
we're learning that this is something that Hermione is so worked up about that she is bouncing around and freaking the fuck out. And I imagine there's like a little trail of smoke behind her as she runs down the stairs.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that the imagery isn't evocative or indicative of her character. I'm saying that the word choice makes me want to punch a bitch. Like what you can say is that she's like moving in an agitated way. She's like speaking feverishly. There's like a lot of ways to convey the same energy without being like, you know, she was talking with her hands like a fucking insane bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she should have just used those words.
That's how amazing.
She was acting like an insane bitch.
Like an insane. You just don't see men being described as hysterical. So that's why I don't want to see women described as it either.
I love that Harry's like, what happens if we fail? It's like, that was definitely covered. Like, a teacher definitely told you that last year, Harry. You really only thinking about that now?
It's like, Harry, if you fail, it's like, maybe should have been thinking about that like 8 months ago.
What I love is that Hermione replies and says, "Oh, don't worry, I already asked McGonagall."
Yeah.
Like, Hermione had the same terror too.
Which is so... Hermione is the definition of anxiety for the rest of this chapter because she's like, oh, I failed everything.
Yeah.
I know it. And it's like, bitch, that is
She's just the
not
worst.
right.
Not to like pile on the misogyny in an already misogynistic chapter, but she's just that worst kind of kid in school.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, I just know I failed. And it's like, bitch, you are the smartest kid in this class.
Yeah.
You studied your butt off. Meanwhile, I'm over here keeping my fingers crossed that I have a C. You know, like I'm trying not to flunk out of this class. And God forbid you got an 80 or an 85, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I think that her anxiety is valid and she's like allowed to feel it, but it is hard. It's like she should be aware of her company. It's like when one of my skinny friends is like complaining to me about feeling fat. And I'm like, that is so valid for you. Like, you are really allowed to feel that way. And like, I'm here for you. But it also feels bad for me extra
read the
because I
fucking
am
room.
I'm twice your size.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'm twice your fail. On whatever grade you got, I failed twice as much.
Exactly. And it was always the worst if it was like you've just stepped out of an exam and they start going through the questions and they're like, and I wrote this for that. And you're like, well, I didn't fucking write that. So like, can we please not talk about this?
I could never dream of talking about a test after I've taken it. I don't give a shit.
Truly.
So
nothing you can do now.
yeah, exactly. So they all go downstairs. Molly's trying to fix Hermione's eye. It's not working. The owl results aren't here yet, but oh wait, now they're here.
Now they're here.
Oh,
Just right on time, yeah.
30 seconds later.
Yeah. It's like in movies when they're like, it's like, something's happening, what's going on? Turn on the news. And they flip it on like right at the exact time.
Oh
Instead
my
of
God.
like, in real life, you turn it on and it would be like the local commercial for the HVAC company in your town, you know?
Like, yes. Perfect.
And then the weather, and then like another commercial, and then like 5 puppies were adopted today at the SPCA, all with the name Waggles. In other news,
cute. Good for them.
Spider-Man is terrorizing the city. And it's like, okay, now everyone come back.
Okay, so what we get next is a report card. I'd love to read it to you guys. Harry James Potter has achieved in astronomy. He got an A for acceptable. Care of magical creatures, E for exceeds expectations. Charms, E. Defense against the dark arts, O for outstanding. Divination, P for poor. Herbology, E. History of magic, D for dreadful. Potions,
Oops.
E. Transfiguration, E. And as a reminder, he did walk out in the middle of the history of magic final and not return.
It really begs the question, what do you have to do to get a T for troll?
T for troll, I guess not answer anything.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they've joked in a previous book, Fred and George were joking about T for troll, and it sounded like they were making it up.
Yes.
But it's on this report card. It's like you could get T for troll.
Magicians are just so racist. Like it could just be 0.
Yeah, oh my God.
Like, it doesn't need to reference species.
I'm surprised the
that's
rest of the
sentient.
rankings weren't assigned
Yeah.
to the races
The
in the
top
world.
score
They
is
didn't.
W for wizard.
Yeah.
And like all of the rest of the grades are adjectives, like outstanding.
Yeah.
But then it's like troll, and it's like, do you want to just say like
It could have just been
incomplete?
terrible.
How about incomplete?
Yeah.
Even just things like dreadful.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
were really stupid. You really fucked this
You
up.
had a,
That's what,
you did a dreadful job.
Yeah, like surely D has to be the lowest grade. Like, why are we doing this?
Why?
So Harry's relieved. This is what he expected. Harry and Ron immediately swap. It's cute. They have like an open phone policy with each other. You know what I mean? It's like they have each other. They have Face ID access on each other's phones.
Oh, yeah.
Ron's grades are less good, but they're still fine. And then obviously Hermione has 10 outstandings and 1 exceeds expectations in Defense Against the Dark Arts because we cannot let her be better than Harry at
She
the
can't
only
be better
thing
than
he's
Harry.
good at.
Yes.
Or
Defense Against the Dark Arts is the boy
know.
subject.
Oh, God damn it.
It's
Yeah.
tech.
But Australian reference.
Yeah, whoops.
I think it also goes back to it, like the third book. Lupin is giving like a cool final exam, and she like panics at the last minute
Yeah.
Hysterical bitch.
because of the boggart is like McGonagall failing her.
Yeah.
Hysterical bitch.
Ironically, you're the one that added the word hysterical right there. So
Hey, Tina,
that one's on you.
Maybe check yourself.
We don't know if the text
You
used
can't
the word
expect-
hysterical in that instance.
You can't expect
think-
anything more from a hysterical bitch. That's all I'm saying.
I think her getting an E in Defense Against the Dark Arts is a way of showing that she does have a lot of book smarts and she does have a lot of practical smarts, but that there's a certain level of like real life application that she doesn't exceed as well at. I did a terrible job of
No,
explaining.
that was
I don't
Yeah.
know how to explain it. There's like
I'm
with
with you.
Defense Against the Dark Arts, I feel there's this extra level of real world application. And Harry, obviously, I mean, for all we know, Harry's probably the only kid who got an O in Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Yeah,
and he
and-
was also being examined by that like a wizard who was on his side and was like, I heard you can do a Patronus charm. And so how do we know that the like Patronus that he didn't push him over the edge and that Grader was being nice?
But like Hermione can produce a Patronus. Neville can produce a Patronus. That could have been part of the practical exam.
Yeah, they just weren't
that was
asked.
fucked.
Yeah.
That was
Fine.
fucked. That
There
was-
were
So
lots
it could have
of
just
others.
been that it might just be that he was shown a little favoritism because the person who was giving the examination for Harry like was a fan of him.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that
truly.
sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it too, but yeah, I think her not having straight O's is a way of showing that there's this one area that she still doesn't quite grasp, which is when it comes to like going out in the world and doing this.
I think the phrasing that she doesn't quite grasp it is very funny because she still got like a B++. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like she still did, she exceeded expectations. She still did
Yeah.
very well, but obviously to her, it's not good enough.
Yeah. I did just want to point out Mrs. Weasley being like, 7 OWLs. That's more than Fred and George got together. like, she, like
Yikes!
constantly
That was a
comparing
big
their kids.
yikes.
I understand why they moved out.
And she's like suddenly proud of them now because they're making money. It's like, come on.
I get it. You think your kids are just fucking around, and then it turns out to be an extraordinarily lucrative
Yeah, it's like,
business.
oh,
It's like,
you're-
all right.
You're actually good at this. Okay.
Just like podcasting.
I will say, my family was very stunned. Anytime they ask me like updates about, that's what I'm talking about, and I'll tell them or whatever, and they're like, oh, okay. Wow. Like clearly they did not expect anyone to listen.
And also, like, I don't know about your parents, but my parents like don't really understand what a podcast is.
No,
Oh,
my
I don't think
parents
they.
don't understand.
I don't think they truly grasp it either.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mum listens to every episode of Fangfiction and then gets
Yeah,
angry
Zac-
at me
Zac's
that we
mum
haven't
is
released
def-
episodes.
Zach's mum is our number one fan.
She's
I'm
probably
really
gonna listen
sorry,
to
Zach's
this.
mom.
So funny.
I'm really sorry we just stopped in the middle of a season.
Sorry, Mom. Ugh,
Bitch. she's a hysterical bitch now.
that's right.
Okay, so the chapter ends with Harry being a bit disappointed because he did not do well enough in potions for Snape to take him into his newt class, and therefore he won't become a cop.
Yeah, truly, right?
Which he also realizes at this point, he's like, it is kind of weird that the first person to suggest it to me was a Death Eater.
Yeah.
But
It made me feel good about myself.
That Death Eater in disguise was the best teacher I've ever had.
It's true.
First one that ever listened
What does
to
it
me.
tell you? It's like, yeah.
it goes Lupin, Mad Eye,
Yeah.
probably
And-
Quirrell.
And it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild how
Lockhart,
much
Umbridge.
more schooling British magical cops need than compared to just
Real
regular
cops?
American
Yeah.
cops. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you have to test into classes? That's unheard of.
It's one of my favorite jokes about the Harry Potter musical universe, which is that they don't use the phrase Aurors at all. They just say wizard cops.
Yeah.
And there's
Perfect.
like an opening number for the sequel where Voldemort has fallen and Lucius and the other Death Eaters are finding out about it, and they're like, the wizard cops got him, and then Lucius goes, damn those wizard cops. And that just goes through my head all the time of just
Yeah.
damn those wizard cops.
So we're here at the end of the chapter. Zach, did you have any favorite moments or final thoughts or anything else you wanted to say about the essence of, wait, what's it called?
The essence of Phlegm.
And I think
Excess.
Excess. I do like an essence of Phlegm. That sounds like a potion ingredient.
My brain remembered like the sounds, but
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
words.
yeah.
Like a lot of the like that. Yeah, listen, like Fleur's heaps hot. I really appreciated that. I think misogyny is great. It supports my systems of power. So the more that we can keep
Sure.
that going, that'd be great. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. I always do love, as much as I have distanced myself from Harry Potter, all the funny little quirks about having like the actual report cards in there. Like there's a like found items sort of feeling, and the silly little like telescope punching people in the eye. That's like, oh, that's everything that's good about this
Yeah.
world.
All the stuff they cut out of the movies.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
almost
really.
like Fred and George are here in the room with us right now.
I know. Well, at least one of them. Then yeah, it was great. I want to hear what do we find out what Molly what likes to be called? No.
Molly Wobbles.
Molly
It's Molly
It's
Wobbles.
Molly Wobbles. I was like, I
Molly
can't remember
Wobbles.
Molly Wobbles.
Molly Wobbles. It's so bad.
Oh god damn it.
And remember, it's her. It's not
No.
like a
Yeah.
dumb nickname that Arthur came up with.
She's
I mean,
like,
it probably
call me
started. Maybe it
Molly
started as
Wobbles.
that, but like she likes being
Yeah.
called Molly Wobbles.
Yeah, she's like, Arthur, put on this apron and call me Molly Wobbles.
Call me
Yeah,
Molly
because-
Wobbles.
Now that I'm thinking about it, Sean has nicknames for me, but 0% of them are because I requested it.
Yeah. Like
That's
call
not how
me
nicknames
this.
work.
Call me
No.
this. Call me
No.
Zac the Destroyer. But yeah, I think Half-Blood Prince has always been my favorite book. So this is like,
Yeah,
this is
mine
fun
too.
to engage with.
Woo! We like Harry Potter again.
Oh,
Can you
no.
believe it?
This is all for the podcast. As soon as this is over, Tina, I'm done. I'm
burning
never
this
again.
book.
Well, don't forget that I'm trying to get canceled. So that's a
True,
statement that'll get
true.
you canceled these days. Yeah. Lucy, any final words about the chapter? Any favorite moments or stuff we didn't touch on?
I mean, there's so little that really happens in this chapter. I feel like we have kind of covered
Truly.
everything. I do, one cute little moment is when the owls arrive. The sentence is 1, 2, 3. The owls soared through it and landed on the table in a neat line. All three of them lifted their right legs. I love this like little cartoon moment. They're like doot doot doot.
It's like
They're
their
so,
little kick line, yeah.
they're so professional. Like they've choreographed this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the most professional system in all of the magical world is the owls. Like they're on it. They are so
Still can't
functional.
get over that,
Nothing
man.
else works in the Wizarding World.
Dude, these owls will go find your like estranged godfather in fucking
That
living in a
blows
cave
my
and
mind.
living off
He would
rats.
tell. He would tell this fucking like 3-year-old bird, go find Sirius in a cave.
and they just do it.
And she did it, damn it.
Mary Clay, any final thoughts about the chapter?
I don't have any. Did you bring me on for excess of phlegm because of the amount of times that I sneeze per day?
No, I brought you on for an excess of phlegm because I thought you'd like Lucy and Zach.
Oh.
I do like you guys.
Awesome. Lucy, Zach, do either of you want to plug your socials or anything you're working on right now?
I'm not working on much at the moment. Fangfiction, we kind
That's
of both got
cool and
really, really burned out and just had to stop doing it. I hope eventually we'll start again because it's very
We get
fun,
it.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
But there's lots of
Okay.
episodes in our back catalogue if you would like to listen to them.
Including one
Fangfiction's
featuring yours truly.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I'll link that in the show notes.
Anything you want to plug? Sam?
Amazing. I'll say, yeah, heaps of Fangfiction still online. Listen to us read My Immortal and listen to me get more angry than I ever do anywhere else. In the world. But yeah, right now I'm having the most fun relaxing and doing absolutely nothing and not using my brain at all, which is fantastic.
We love
Hooray.
it.
Yeah,
We love
good. I love the
Yeah.
plug for nothing. That's the
Yeah.
energy we
yeah,
need.
I would
this
like to
season.
plug taking a break, quitting, giving up on stuff, and just having a nice time.
Lucy, have you been watching or reading or listening to or playing or thinking about anything recently you think the listeners of our show would enjoy?
Okay, this is a bit of left field, but if you've got any Australian listeners, I would like to plug a yes vote in our upcoming referendum. We are
I love that.
voting to change our constitution to acknowledge that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders are the first people of this nation and to establish a voice to Parliament. And
When is that vote?
I think it's in September. Have they haven't given
later
a
this
date
year.
yet.
They haven't announced it yet.
Yeah. Later in the year.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
cool. So we got time. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
we have time to move there and become citizens and
Exactly right. Absolutely.
Please do.
Yeah.
surely we can do that in a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're up against
That's-
all of Fox News
Oh,
Oh,
who
truly.
are
Yeah.
no campaigning hard, so yeah.
well, that's a wonderful plug, Lucy. I appreciate it so much. Zach, it's hard to live up to that, but
Right.
do you have anything
Gosh.
and anything
Zach's
you've
like,
been watching,
I've been-
reading,
I just engage
playing,
with content.
caring about?
But yeah, definitely second that. I've only just been watching the entire Fast and the Furious franchise just to like
Always
God.
plug
really
that.
good,
Always.
which we talk about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been rereading, knowing that I was coming on this podcast. I was like, I need to remember a book that I've been reading at the moment. Paradise Rots by Jenny Haval. She's a musician, and it's like a queer romance that uses a lot of really strange, surreal. Lots of like body elements, which I love a lot. But Paradise Rots, I would definitely recommend.
Is it by any chance a play off of or inspired by Paradise Lost?
Absolutely.
Surely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
Yay!
Ah, sounds
my
Well done.
high school English teacher will be so
Yeah.
proud that I just remember the name of that book.
Very much adjacent. But yeah,
Amazing.
would recommend if you like fungus and women falling in love. That's it.
That's literally Haley,
Yeah.
right? Haley would love that.
Haley's in my house right now. She told me to say hi to you guys.
Hi, Haley.
Hi.
She's watching the D&D movie with Sean.
Oh, nice.
I really liked that.
cute.
I know it kind of got canned, but I loved it. I had a great time watching the
I
D&D
loved it
movie.
too. I'll watch it. I'll keep watching it. I thought it was so
I don't
fun.
know anything about D&D, so I feel like
It doesn't matter.
You don't need to.
It literally doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it does not
Cool.
matter at all. Mary Clay, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can't. I
Bitch,
deleted it all.
you hysterical
Excellent.
bitch.
Yeah, this really is a
Um,
pro quitting episode.
If you missed the announcements over the past couple weeks, I have brought an unofficial end to That's What I'm Talking About. because I will be starting a new podcast where I experience Star Wars for the first time.
Oh,
Called Skywalk Before You Run.
that's great.
And it will be on the Deus Ex Media Network.
Woo!
Our pal Tina here.
Me! I'm so excited.
And other pals as well.
Additional pals.
So, but obviously you can still, I didn't delete, that's what I'm talking about. That would have been a bold move. You can still listen everywhere. It's at Tolkien About Pod on social media. And then you can, there's nothing Actually, no, I take that back. I have posted one reel on Instagram. You can follow the new podcast at Skywalk Run Pod. If you want updates or, other stuff in the meantime before I theoretically launch it this fall. Yay!
She's launching it. It's launching. I'm very excited. And Mary Clay, what have you been watching, reading, playing, listening to, thinking about, advocating for in your community lately that you think the listeners would enjoy?
Christina, I want you to...
Is it Tears of the Kingdom or is it Witcher?
So here's the thing. The last time I was on the podcast, it was before The Witcher season 3 came out, and I said I'm going to preemptively plug it, and now I'm post-emptively plugging it. I read the first 2 books that are not technically a part of the official series. They're just a collection of short stories. It's a very confusing book universe.
Very.
But I really enjoyed reading the books, and I've played the game. I've just really, really enjoyed diving into the world. And so there's a lot of differences and stuff with the Netflix show, but I can't complain about it. I'm just here to have a good time. It was I forgot that they split the season into 2 parts. I have already watched all of it.
Good for you.
It was only 5 episodes.
Yeah.
No big deal.
And it came out on a Thursday and I was off on Friday. So,
Yeah.
I didn't like that much self-control.
Do you remember when I started trying to do brief plugs?
No.
Man.
I don't.
Nobody ever remembers that.
But I
for some
really want to
reason.
plug this season, especially if you've been hesitant about The Witcher before, because I think they've been making really excellent choices with the characters, a lot of the main characters, and in particular, there is a queer love story with one of the main characters, and the actor behind it has shared a lot of stuff about how much work he put into working with the screenwriters and directors to make sure that it was told in a caring way, and I felt like I could see that attention come through.
That's awesome.
So yeah, just just like a general plug for better characterization of the people and the shows that you watch. It's nice when it's like, I like the choices that you're making with these people that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, I plug good storytelling.
Yeah, like what? It's amazing. I also plug Rory the French dog, who's obsessed with Henry Cavill, and she got to meet Henry Cavill.
So anyway, thank you so much for your plug, Mary Clay. I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. And this week I'm going to plug the movie Nimona on Netflix. It came out a couple months ago by the time this episode comes out. It is an animated movie based on my favorite graphic novel of all time, which was written by Nate Stevenson. It's a super gay story about a shape-shifting girl and the not-so-evil villain that she forces herself upon as his sidekick. It's literally so fun. That's the end of the episode. Lucy, Zach, thank you so much for joining us. It is so fun to have you on the show always.
Thank you.
It's so fun to be here. Thank you for having us.
Hell yeah. You'll come back for the last book and we'll we'll have to figure out how to be friends after that.
Hey, JK, sorry, could you please keep writing? I take back all those things I wrote on Twitter.
No!
My podcast just
There's
keeps
always
going.
the cursed child, Christina.
No! I refuse! I won't! Get me out of here! No, I'll have another podcast by then. We'll talk about it. And Mary Clay, as always, thank you for being my co-captain. I appreciate you so much.
Hey. You're welcome.
And that's what I'm star walking about.
Isn't it amazing how like the urge to just end every podcast with "and that's what I'm upping about" after doing "that's what I'm talking about" for
and that's what I'm talking about. I also said it wrong. I
4
said
years.
I said Skywalk. I said Starwalking.
Starwalking.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Sorry, this isn't recorded.
I know.
That's okay.
The gimmick is that I know nothing, so I could say Starwalking.
Starwalk, bitch. That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to the restricted section. This podcast is produced and hosted by me, Christina Kahn. Our theme music was produced by Ryan Kahn. Our logo was designed by Michael Hardison. Please connect with us on Twitter @RestrictedPod, on Instagram @RestrictedSectionPod, on Facebook @RestrictedSectionPod, or in our Facebook group, The Restricted Section Detention Crew. Join our Patreon to get access to our Discord server, our bonus episodes, and other cool perks. We're also very happy to be a member of Deus Ex Media, where all you fucking nerds can find all kinds of fandom podcasts to suit your fancy.
Coffee, tea, honor, cabbage. Long ago, the four elements lived in harmony. Then, shit went totally cray when the Avatar attacked. Only the Cabbage Man, merchant of fine cruciferous vegetables, could stand against his trolling. But when the world needed some dank veg, he vanished. 10 years have passed, and my partner and I have started a new podcast.
My Cabbages! An Avatar podcast.
A weekly show about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Whether it's Sokka's new line of cologne.
Hey, look at you, sitting there on a seal. Well, now look back at me. I'm on a even bigger seal. Now look away.
D&D related antics.
You have to make an acrobatics check for that, and Aang just like unzips his pants and whips out his D20s. He's just like, I got this.
Or randomly breaking into song.
Go bending waterfall.
We'll stumble our way through the greatest show ever made, one episode at a time.
Rotten cabbages? What kind of slum do you think this is?
I thought you guys were professionals.
Dude, waste my time.
Deus Ex Media.